Hey guys, it's Brenda. I just wanted to take you along on this little adventure I'm going to try to do. I'm going to take this tray that I found at the thrift store and I'm going to give it a Mackenzie Childs look. If you're not familiar with that, it's the black and white check, but I'm going to make this Christmas. I'm going to do the black and white check and I'm going to add some black and some white and some red and give it that feel to have it for Christmas. I love that look. So this is going to be Mackenzie Childs inspired. So first thing I'm going to do is I am going to spray paint it, and after I do that I'll be back. As you saw, I spray painted this white. Now I'm going to do the Mackenzie Childs dupe look-alike. You know, it's going to be my inspiration for this tray for Christmas. I went ahead and spray painted it white, as you saw, and then I marked off my little squares. As you know, it's not plaid, it's checked. So I went ahead and marked off my squares, and I'm going to show you how I did that. I just started in where I wanted the middle to be, and I drew me a line across, and then I started this way, and you can see my little markings, which I ignored for the most part because I wanted different sizes. I didn't want them to be exact, and all of her things are not exact. Thank you, Jesus. Y'all know how I am. So I went ahead and made me a big plus, and then I took my smaller ruler, and after I marked that, I started in the middle with this, and I did my line all the way across with this one as far as it would go, and then when it wouldn't go, I used my smaller ruler, and it was the same way on the sides too. It's time consuming, so I went ahead and got that done. I'm hoping this is just going to be a work in progress. I want black and white, then I want black and white, maybe a red in between, and then I want red handles. And I can use it for Christmas. I'm basically using it for Christmas. And after Christmas, then I can use it all the time for display or whatever. Now, I spray painted it. Some of it is showing through, as you see here. And it had a little spot I had to redo there, which is fine. I don't mind. But I don't want them to be solid black and solid white. So it's really going to work out better for me. I went ahead and made the red handles. I just wanted to see what paint I'm going to use. I see I'm going to have to do 2 coats if I use this Master Touch. And I need for it to be the solid colors is what I need. I need I don't need for it to have any other color but that. So these are my 3 colors that I'm probably going to use. Y'all know me. I could change my mind. If I will, I'll tell you. But I have my paints that May has, and I don't have them here. They're at the shop. I'm in my studio now. So we're just going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to get myself going. You can join the ride, and y'all know sometimes when I paint, I get quiet. I know you don't believe it, but I do. So here we go. I'm going to try to get this thing done. I've got 3 or 4 other projects that I want to do in that style. I have a wooden box, and I have this cute little wooden duck, and I want to try to do that in a Mackenzie style. I may do it striped instead of check, but we'll see. I have this smaller box that I want to make in that style, and also I have a pumpkin. So we're gonna play. I hope that you enjoy this. So we're gonna take it and see where it goes. I'm going to start with the black and the white. Now, I'm going to only do, I don't know why I picked up the white. I'm going to only do the black squares. Hopefully, I won't have to go back over and do any white squares. And the way the Mackenzie Child pattern is, it's not, by the way, it's not exact, I guess you would say. It's hand done. They're all hand done, so it's not exact. And I do want you to know these Nouveau brushes that May has, they're the bomb. Love them. They go watercolor, they go acrylic, they go just about everything you want. Now, I'm starting out, and I'll show you how I'm going to do my paint because you're not going to be able to see it all the time. I'm not going to use very much water in this process because the stroke is going to be that. It's thicker on one side, thinner on the other. Thicker on one side, thinner on the other. And then I'm probably going to come back in here and just simply do that. Or either I'm going to use a Sharpie to straighten out that edge. So I just wanted you to see that before I even got started. So I'm going to start on the left-hand side. And there's something else that I'm thinking about as I do this. I may make a completely black strip about that wide all the way around it. It's going to be according to how all of these edges come out. If they're messy looking, I'll do that. If they're not, I'm not going to worry about it. So, you know, there's a lot to think about. So I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm going to dry it really good on a paper towel. This is a big project. I didn't realize how big this was, but I'm excited to try to start it. All right, now it's checkerboard, so I have to think about this with my brain is the way it is. So I'm gonna go black, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white, black, white. Then I'm gonna come up here, and in the opposite, I'm gonna make me an X. And the reason I'm making this X is, I'm not gonna do that, that's not quite dry yet, is it keeps me from having to think. I'm putting the X's in here as my reminders that this is black. I'm painting the black X's. Okay, let's see. These are a little tricky. This is why I was saying I might even do ribbon. I don't know. I'm open for anything here. This is an experimental piece. Bucky told me the other day, he said, "Why did you choose a huge experimental piece?" And I said, well, that's what I wanted to do. I've been wanting one of her trays, and I just can't. I have a friend, her name is Ginger, and I'm sure y'all have heard me talk about Ann. Ann is one of my friends I've had for 60 years, and it's her sister, and she is an absolute magnificent artist. Right now she has MS, so we're really, she still paints. It's amazing what she can do. But she got into this Mackenzie Childs, and Ann's like about drove Ann crazy. She said she's putting checks on everything that doesn't move. Okay, let's start. So I'm gonna just start over here and see where it leads me. I have a little more water than I have. And I'm not going to really worry too much. This has a pattern on it. I'm not going to worry too much about that. If it doesn't completely get covered, that's okay. I'm not gonna stress about it. I just want it to have that feel. So Bucky helped me set up my studio, and I'm really liking it. I can leave it and not get too bent out of shape about it. And you see, this is not solid. I'm not doing it solid. And I'm not trying to be perfect at all. I'm gonna finish all of these out, and then I'll be back with you. That's done. So all I did was merely finish off the squares, and then I kind of fixed some of it. I don't want it to be perfect. I just want it to appear to be checked. Now what I have to do is to decide what I want around here. Now, I think, and you see I got some stuff here, so I'm going to fix that later on. But I think I want to leave the bigger part white and paint in between here black. I'm going to try that. Let's see if we like that. I'm going to get a round brush because that's kind of round in there. And I'm going to go in with my black. And I'll touch it up with the white. Let's see. I think I'm going to start over here and see what I like. That brush is perfect. Perfect. And here again, I don't care if there's little places. Does not bother me at all. Let's see how that works all around. Hey, there's one thing about paint. If it doesn't work, all we have to do is paint over it. This paint is the full body paint, so it'll be fairly easy to do on there. And I think I just want those three. This is it's an imperfect shape here. I'm just noticing, which won't matter. Once you get everything done, it's not that big a thing. When you're working with tin, which this is tin, and it is oval, it's hard to make it without having to add to it. The one thing about it is, once you get it all done, nobody sees your imperfections. So don't stress about it. Just do it. Okay, as I do this, I think I have changed my mind. I think, as I see how this goes, see, this is always a work in progress. I think I'm just going to do this. I think that's just going to be less messy. I'm going to have big stripes on here, which is my choice. That's the good thing about when you're doing something, you can choose to do it however you want to do it. This is going to turn out so much easier than following those lines because, like I say, they had to rebend in 2 or 3 places. You'll appreciate this. I have on an apron. You know, it's around the neck and where an apron goes. Well, I got paint on my shoulder. I swear, I'm a paint magnet. It doesn't matter. It goes everywhere. But that's okay. I like it. I like painting. Sometimes painting gets a little boring. You know that old thing they say, it's like watching paint dry? It's about the same thing when you're painting. All right, I'm liking that much, much better. Much better. And I'm going to put me a little white out so I can white out some of these places that have gotten stuff on them. So all I'm going to do now is kind of go over these places that have gotten black on the white. I'm just going to kind of erase them with the white. And also kind of straighten out some of the lines that got a little wonky. I don't mind a few of them, but I don't want them way wonky. If that makes any sense. There's a little hair got in here. Some way I must have spray painted it on there when I spray painted it. Do y'all want to see a little tour of my studio? It's never going to be straight completely. It's always going to be messy. I'm just a messy arts and crafter. But if you want to, I'll show you the prayer path again and also the studio. just don't be all disappointed because it's all messed up. It stays messed up. I have more projects than I'll ever get done in my lifetime piled up. Are y'all that way? Sometimes I feel like I'm the only one that's that way. Now what I'm doing here is I've got a little touch of black and a lot of white. And I want to just kind of on one side or the other. I'm going to make me some, not shadows, but kind of streaky things. Just so it's not so in your face one color. Well, I'll have to let that dry. I got too much black on those. I'll come back and let those dry a little bit. So I learned something there. I'm going to double load my brush. I'm going to put that white on one side and that little kind of touch of gray on the other. And I'm going to touch that gray side where I want it to be gray. See how much better that looks? It's a work in progress, gang. Yes, it is. It's kind of like watching paint dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here and rinse my brush really good. And I'm just going to kind of touch it in a little of the white. And I'm going to use my brush kind of like an eraser. I'll still come back with some white on that. I'm just going to smooth these out with a wet brush. Whoops. Turn my brush. I get to thinking, and when I start thinking, it gets messy. And here again, like I said, I don't mind it being streaky. That's okay. I don't want it all to be exactly the same. I don't want it to look machine made. And if you were in here doing one with me, I would not want yours to look just exactly like mine either. I really would not. That's why sometimes projects take a little longer than you think they're going to. It's because you get these wild ideas about what you're going to do. My grandmother used to say, you got these grandiose ideas. Have y'all ever heard that? I have more than once. What these are going to look like, hopefully, when I finish. It's going to look more like a shadow than it is a just stark white. I just kind of like that little shadow on it. It's just not completely black. I know it looks like I'm being messy, and I guess I am being messy. But it sure is fun. Sometimes you can do this with dirty water. I've got a lot of dirty water over here, so it's getting there, folks. I'm getting excited. This has been in the back of my mind for a while. Something I wanted to do, to try. And like I said, I picked this tray up at the thrift store. I was really excited about it. It's got a little more curves in it than I wanted, but it's a great little try out one. I'll let that get dry. Then I will. All right, now the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double load. And let's keep our fingers crossed. I'm going to kind of do this around this edge right here. Just want it enough around it that that dries a little bit, I want a little bit more black over here on this. When that dries some, I'm going to come back over here and do this while it's wet, so it won't have any real hard edges. There'll be a few, but not many. I'm just softening those a little, making sure they all have a little bit of it. Just learn, when you mess up somewhere, just don't panic. Now that's hard to do. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna try a little experiment here. I'm gonna look for my Sharpie. I think I'm gonna need both actually, but I'm just gonna go in here with my black Sharpie and I'm gonna square off some of these. Yep, my arm's getting in the paint over there. You're right. Now you got to remember, this is a it's not smooth. The bottom of it is very textured, so I'm going to be running over some bumps. I do know that, but there's a few of them I just want to straighten out a little bit, and I'll probably do some filling in on them. I don't want them to all be raggedy edged. I want some of them. I don't want it to be perfect, but I want some of them to be at least close to a square. Square it off in some way. And I'll come back in here after I finish that and paint that in. Yep, definitely going to have to go back in here and do some painting. Which, that's okay. That's what this is all about. Is getting it right. And you know, I even could come back and do this at any point that I want to. It's hard to get a straight line, especially when you've got a texture on the bottom. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't think about the texture. Or I probably might not have started it, but I think it's going to look good. It's going to look good for what I want it to look good. It's going to make a good Christmas piece to add. I'll fill in some of these with a little bit of paint, and let's see what we got. Put a little water in there. I want it to be kind of soupy. I don't want it to be dark enough to cover some of those open spots. Because it's kind of like a trompe l'oeil. It's going to trick your eye. I didn't say that exactly right, but you got the idea. You know, when I talked before, all of these words would come to me because I use them so much. I'm going to be honest with you, I have not painted in quite a while. I kind of got myself all psyched up when I was cleaning out my arts and crafts. I'm like, oh my goodness, I had forgotten how much I liked all these things. I want to use them again. So I pulled out all of my paint brushes and paints and sprays, and I have a lot of different kinds of paint. So I'm anxious. I'm going to do some of my in the future. I'm ready to do some of my mixed media journaling, and it's all personal journaling. It's not anything major. It's just for me. I've not done that for a long time. I've been doing a lot of the linen and lace. I've actually sold a couple of those. Been shocked. So see, I'm just in here just talking away and painting away. Just sharing all kinds of stuff. And most of them, nobody's going to even notice it but me. There's going things sitting on this, so it's not gonna matter. All right, there we go. Now I got to go back where my arm hit it and take off some of that black stuff I got on it. That's not pretty. Okay, we're getting close. Look at there. It's not taking me but 900 years to get this done. That's okay. Now I'm going to get my red back, and I'm going to put another coat of red on the handles. I was going to paint holly on the inside of this, but you know, I got to thinking about it. I don't think I'm going to. I think I may just tie a Christmas ribbon around the handles and call it done, so I can use it all year long if I want to. Now if I get out there and get it on out there Christmas, I know you're supposed to do Christmas in July, but obviously I'm doing it in August. Now one thing I am going to do after I finish this, as soon as I can get to somewhere where I can get in touch with some felt, I am going to put some felt on the bottom of this. It just keeps it from banging. If I use it for, I probably won't use it for a quote serving tray unless I put something like a napkin or something like that on it. If you'll notice, I'm putting this paint on kind of thick. I want it to be a rough finish. I want it to kind of have a rough. Now when all of this dries, I'm going to put a shiny coat on it. Now, oops, let's see, a little more red I need to use. I'm just kind of really getting it on thick. All right, now, the one thing I like about using acrylics is when it dries, you can paint over it, just like I'm going to have to paint over that. All right. Now, I keep seeing these little bitty things that I want to do, but I'm going to start peeking it to death, and I'm not, see, look at there. I'm telling you. I'm a paint magnet. Now, I'm going to set this aside. When it completely dries, I'm going to spray it with a high gloss. Now, I'm going to let it completely dry, and then I'm going to come back in and play a little bit with it. There's some places that need some work done, and I am going to spray it really good. I'm going to put the felt on the bottom if I can find what I want. And I think we're just about done with this. So as soon as I finish that up and it dries, then I'll let you see the finished project. I've got another quick little project that I want to do with the black and white check. This came from Dollar Tree. It's a napkin holder or a, I don't know, something for your pens. I guess it's anything you want it to be. But I'm going to paint the checks on one side for sure, and I might do it on two sides. I'm not real sure what I'm going to do. But first, I'm going to, here again, show you how I did my checks. I'm going to do them about, let's see, probably about an inch. That's kind of big, but I think I'm going to do about an inch. That'll make it easier to do that. So, just going to make sure my line's straight. Just make sure it's straight. It's hard for me to get things straight. I'm going to try to get them straight. Okay. And now, I'm going to mark them. Okay, I'm going to go from that one to that one. That's in the middle there. Let's see what that looks like. Now this is hard to get it straight here. And like I say, I don't mind if they're different sizes. I do mind if the line is crooked though. The round sides are the hardest. There we go. Okay. Now this gives me an idea of what we need to do. That line is not straight. See, that's what I want to make sure my lines are straight. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to paint the whole thing white. I find that that's easier for me if I paint it all white and then come back and do the black. I'm going to leave the stem the way it is. That just made me a little stem. And you see I'm going to paint it white, but I can still see my lines. I can still see my lines. It's not a stain, but it's not a thick coat either. And I'm going to show you another way we can do it on the other side. This is a good way to take $1 something and make it a lot more. Okay, the other side is already, it has a the little indentions for the pumpkin already. I'm going to paint the whole thing here. Now you can spray paint it. I probably should have, but I'm not. I'm just going to use the paint that I have here. My process is never the same no matter what I do, so it's kind of hard. If you have any questions, pop them in there. I'll answer them. Now, I'm not too worried about getting it all on the sides. I am going to do the inside. So, all right. That's going to be pretty much enough here. That's got to dry. All right. There we go. Now, that side should be dry by now. It's not. So, I'm going to try it. I'm going to go from one side to the other so I don't get my hands in it. I'm going to have some bleeding. It's going to be that way, huh? I wondered about that. I did not seal my board. And it is the type of wood. So what I'm going to do now is just come back over it in the opposite way since it bled some. And see if I can close up some of that bleeding. They're going to be a little bit bigger than I wanted them to be, but that's okay. There we go. Okay, now let's let that dry. Okay, and now I'm going to come back in with some of my white to cover up some of the places we got a little carried away here. Just a little bit where we got carried away and it bled some. When I say don't panic, I mean don't panic. It normally can be fixed. There's a lot of things I've done that hadn't been able to fix them, but most of the things I can fix. I tell my grandkids, I've told Briar, I told my children when they were growing up, the only thing that I can't help you with is the thing I don't know about. So if you will need my help, I need to know about it. And I won't ask questions. I promise. If it's a major issue, no questions asked. Let's let that dry. And while that's drying, I'm going to look at it in a minute and see if I like it. Not sure. I'll come back here. Sometimes when I get a little tired, come back here and I'm going to work just a little bit on this. There's a few places that I want to straighten out, straighten up, undo. It's still a little tacky. There we go. Now, I'm going to let this dry very, very good. Oh, I need to do that little handle thingy again. Cover up that. Now, on Mackenzie's, she has a little bit of gold, yellow. That's too much. Too much paint. And she just kind of, it's just kind of on there. It's not, it's more like a shadow. It's very, very thin. And it's not on all of them. Let me see, make sure that's not too much. It just kind of is. And it's almost like it goes through there. Just to, if you look really close, you'll see them. Just a stain almost. I like it because it gives it that little vintage look. There we go. Now I'm going to pick up some of it. There we go. I am really liking that. I'm really excited. This is going to be such a great thing to use during the holidays. So, there we are. Finished, and I am so excited. So, till our next adventure.